Welcome to another Bitstocks podcast. This is part 3 of Bitcoin Ideologies and Economic Incentives. If you haven't already checked out part 1 and 2, we'll leave them linked down in the description below. And today we're going to talk about key dates.
Exactly. We're talking about the key dates that are in Bitcoin coming up this year.
Exactly.
We have the halving coming up.
The big one. I think that's going to have a very key part to play.
Exactly.
The halving is something that people, we're seeing it now. The price is going to double.
Exactly. People don't understand supply and demand, you know.
The price is going to double.
This is the dynamics of it. When you realize actually 21 million coins is the full supply of Bitcoin already in existence. It's already there. It's fixed.
Yeah.
You can't actually change the supply. So when you have the supply fixed, it means that the demand is the only key barometer for what the price should do. Now, when we've had a focus on price so far, it's always been about if the price goes up, it's going to kind of compensate for the fact that the supply is going to change.
Decreasing, yeah.
But really, the supply has already been predetermined. And the inflation rate for what Bitcoin will be is already known now. It's already known next year. It's already known in 2040. So really, the only key barometer is the demand. And the one that does not have demand after the halving will start to see a slow death because you can't really grow if you don't have true and utter demand. And this is where the utility aspect comes into it.
And that's the thing. Before previous halvings, we've had that demand, right? Each time Bitcoin has gone through this cycle, which is every roughly 3 to 4 years, we have seen demand increasing gradually to the point where this effect of, okay, the price will compensate for the decrease in supply has actually happened. But this one is going to be quite different. Yeah. The simple fact that we have seen a stagnation in demand, let's just say, and that's just due to simply utility.
Exactly.
What is this utility that everyone's talking about? This demand is going to continue to grow, but for what? So we've got the one who's going to be halving. We've got Bitcoin Cash first on this. We've got Bitcoin Cash halving first. I believe we've got, is that April? Date?
7th of April, yeah.
7th of April. We've got Bitcoin SV, which will follow.
A day later.
And that's a day later.
Yeah.
And then we've got a month later.
Roughly, yeah.
We've got Bitcoin Core. Now, at what point before these halving dates do you think that we're going to start to see some
fireworks,
some action,
some
popcorn time?
Mentioned before, when you look at these kind of different halving dates, they're already priced in. So they're already people already kind of preempting what should happen, trying to get their coins before this halving happens. So we usually expect a rally. And one example of this, which you can argue is a test bed, is Litecoin. Litecoin effectively is a baby version of Bitcoin and a test bed for a lot of the kind of innovation that happens on BTC, Bitcoin Core. And they had their halving last year. And 6 weeks leading into it was the high. And a few months before that was when we really start to see it pick up. And this was, again, a result of people trying to get the last coins before the halving comes. So people preempt these things happening and the price reflects that. But then what happened after the halving?
No demand.
We dropped off the cliff.
There was no demand,
There was no demand. And we saw probably from the high, about 2/3 of its value fall off in the space of weeks. And this is what we probably expect to start to see in the other coins because it may rally before, but after the halving, it's going to be a focus on how much fees can you get from transactions? And if you don't get enough, you start to die.
And we already know the mining industry is one of very little margins. There's contrary to popular belief, miners don't make a huge amount of money.
Exactly.
They've got overheads. Exactly. We've got electricity here. We've got employee cost. You've got security. You've got investment which needs to be happening on a consistent basis. And that's something where the miners now, they will move to the chain which incentivizes them the most, right? The one where there's transactions happening, the one which allows the miners to be incentivized, rather than we've got Core on this side, which want to take transactions off chain and move it on this second layer, which again on its own decentralizes the miners because you're now sitting here looking at, okay, I want to build a business, right? Not for the next year, not for the next 2, but the next 10.
Yeah.
Now, this idea of moving transactions off chain to you as a business owner, as a miner who's looking 10 years plus, that's a big worry, right? You're not sure when these guys are going to just crumble your business model.
Exactly. And so it's tricky for them to be able to really see ahead. And they want to make a return on their investment. If they put in, if you said it before, if they're putting millions of dollars into this, they need to be able to say, I want to ensure that there's enough transactions in the future that I can make that money back in a reasonable time.
Right?
And I can start to plan and forecast for, not only years, but decades beyond now.
Exactly.
And, when you have smaller block sizes, it doesn't allow that. But when you have unscalable, it does allow that. And it means that they don't have to worry about transactions being on there. As long as good applications are built, which people will use, and is integrated with the actual time chain, then Bitcoin, the true Bitcoin, will continue to increase, will continue to grow. And then we'll see, miners really flourish and keep the system going.
Yeah, exactly that. And this adds on, I think we need to reinforce the point that you made, the birth of the new era in Bitcoin, where mining really does start to become professionalized, and we start to see this change from the speculator game to more of the utility being built. And then what we want to do about that, because obviously we here are very big believers in the time chain and the blockchain space, and we now are building something very special.
Yes.
Now, tell us, you, Manny, as a head of product and sales, what's Gravity got to do? What do we have in this new era of Bitcoin?
Yeah, I mean, what really kind of drew me to what Bitstocks is doing, especially with Gravity, is we're trying to build a whole new type of bank. And this is going to be one that is built for the 21st century. This is one that's built for sovereign individuals, and it's one that empowers them to truly be able to trade with one another in the world, to have all the actual money laundering and proper financial licenses in place to be able to do that, and to track it all. We want to work with government. We want to actually make sure taxes are paid. We want to make sure these things are in place. But then it's also technology first. So we're really going down the digital banking route. We're making it digital only, and we're building it in such a way where it's API driven. So we can really integrate with so many other services that are available in the space and make it a kind of ecosystem. And this bank is one that is transparent. This bank is one that's built on light, and it's Gravity where you feel the presence of it, but you don't see it, right? And that's kind of what we're trying to go for here. And it's really innovation in a banking sector which has really not been focused on that. And we do have a lot of kind of challenger banks that have grown. We're talking about the likes of Monzo and Revolut and N26. But we're trying to take it to a whole new level and actually integrate it with the protocol that is, we hope and we believe, will be the one time chain for the world. And
exactly.
And that's BSV.
Because essentially all of these competitor banks, they're just building on top of this same old archaic technology, right? There's not really much difference between, your Revoluts and your Barclays.
Yeah.
Right? At the end of the day, they've just got a sleeker app. Yeah. Right? They got a better looking app. But the
metal cards.
Exactly. Well, I've got a metal card, I can't lie.
Exactly. Don't lie now, don't lie.
Yeah.
Don't lie.
But it's still fundamentally, it's based on the same technology, the same financial system. Now, to create this digital bank that we're talking about, we really do want to use all of the capabilities that BSV has to offer. I mean, the unlimited block size, the scalability, the industry that the miners will becoming this professionalized system really does help us push what we're really trying to do. And I mean, we wouldn't be able to do this if it was us having to worry about the underlying infrastructure and the protocol. It allows us to build something that we believe will change the world tomorrow. And that's eventually what we're doing here.
Exactly. And Gravity, we hope, and what we've tried to push for, and our aim and goals are to be the center of all things banking for this decade and beyond.
Yeah.
And we're really trying to build products that work with all new technology just coming out. So we're talking AR, we're talking VR, we're talking Ready Player One level stuff. We don't want to give too much away now.
We've got a lot of things in the pipeline.
We've got a lot of things in the pipeline, and we hope Gravity, and we will push for Gravity to be the center of all of that thing. And Bitstocks is the only company that's doing that.
Amazing. Well, one last thing I did want to ask you before we wrap this up, Manny, is what was your decision in coming to Bitstocks? Why did you decide to come for us?
Yeah. Looking back at my 2.5 years in the space, it's really been one of focusing on how do we allow people that are already making money to try and make some more money. And the key thing that really took me away from the traditional banking world was how do we actually build value for the ordinary person? How do we actually turn banking on its head and make it something that's valuable to everyone? And when I looked at Bitstocks, and I mean, I've known you for a few years now.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It's been a while. And what you guys are doing here at Bitstocks was something that was truly visionary level. You're really trying to say, this is a banking model that we know and love. where can we take the things out and empower the individuals that are on our platform, give them more ways to earn income, increase their capabilities as individuals that are going to be basically living around the world. We want this to be a global bank. We want this to be a bank that's transparent to everyone. And Bitstocks has already made that the first ethos of what they're doing. So they're really working on ensuring that the foundation is correct. And now the foundation has been locked in, I'm here to really try and push the products that we want to put on. Traditional financial tools, services that we know and love, but that work in such a way that it's so seamless. It works with the time chain protocol, and hence it can scale and be transparent in a way that no other bank is really doing. And I think Bitstocks they're the only people that are doing this. So we're going for it.
We're trying our best here, guys. We're trying our best in CoinGeek London. We've got quite a few things that we've been working on. Some things that I've been trying so hard to keep in because it's hard not to talk about it when you're speaking to certain people in the space, or you're speaking to certain people who want and are looking for something. It's like, guys, we've been working on this. It's a matter of time. And CoinGeek London, we plan to do quite a few announcements. So stay tuned, guys. I believe we're actually going to have some tickets available as
discounts.
well. So that might be in the description below. So keep an eye out on the description below for some tickets to CoinGeek London. And we look forward to seeing you guys there. Manny, it's been a pleasure.
Yeah, man. First of many.
This could potentially be a series because we have a lot to talk about. I mean, this is just the beginning. I mean, I really do want to go into a lot deeper in the economic incentives and what really does make Bitcoin tick, and the difference between traditional finance. I mean, we've got modern money mechanics, which is something
people don't really understand.
People don't realize, and I really want to go into that subject. I want to talk a lot more about what makes money money. Yeah, and we'll see you guys in the next one.